Hello everyone. Today we're going to be starting a new chapter, chapter 11, which is going to go over circumference, area, and volume. And this is going to be the last chapter that we'll talk about before the end of the school year. So this first section is going to be over circumference and arc length. So first we'll go over circumference. When I say circumference of a circle, that is just this outer boundary of the circle. You kind of think of it as like the perimeter. And how we find that is that it's going to be either pi times the diameter, or it's going to be 2 pi r, where r is the radius. And that's because, if you remember, the diameter is just twice the length of my radius. Okay, so first example, I want to find each indicated measure, and I'm going to leave my answer in terms of pi, and I'm going to also round it to the nearest hundredth. So this first one says that the circumference of a circle with a radius of 9 centimeters. So it's asking me to find the circumference. Well, I know circumference, that is just equal to 2 pi r. So I use r here because I'm given the radius. So now I'm just going to plug in my value for r. So I get 9. And then multiplying that out, I get that my circumference is 18 pi. Or if you put this in your calculator, all you type in is 18 times and you hit that pi button. And when you do that, you should get that this is equivalent to about 56.55 centimeters. Okay, now the next one, I want to find the radius of a circle, and I'm told the circumference is 26 meters. So filling in the same formula from above, I know my C is 26, and I want to find my R, so I need to get R by itself. Right now there's this 2 pi with it, and everything's being multiplied together. So in order to move that 2 pi, I need to divide it from both sides. And so I want to get R is equal to, well, 26 divided by 2 is 13. Over pi. Or if you were to put that in your calculator, 13 divided by pi, you would get 4.14 meters. Okay, and then we can also find arc length. So in a circle, the ratio of the length of a given arc to the circumference is equal to the ratio of the measure of the arc to 360. So the arc length, whatever length this is in red, over 2 pi r, which again, that's just my circumference, is equal to the measure of my arc. So that's what you guys did last chapter when we were learning circles, how to find that measure of that arc, over 360 degrees. Or if we're just trying to find the arc length, we can multiply both sides of this top equation by 2 pi r. To get what's on the bottom here. Okay, so we're going to keep this in mind as we go through these next few problems. So for this first one, it's asking me to find the arc length of AB. So since I'm just trying to find the arc length, I'm going to use this one right here. And that tells me it's going to be the measure of my arc AB over 360 degrees times 2 pi r. Well, the measure of my arc, here, when I look at my arc, this angle inside is 60 degrees. That means this is 60. Again, if you remember that from last chapter. And my radius here is given as 8. Okay, now I want to simplify that out. So if I simplify this first fraction, I see 60 over 360. 60 actually goes into 360 evenly, and it goes in at 6 times. So I'm really going to get 1 over 6 times, well, 2 times 8 is 16 pi. And so if I multiply this across, I get 16 pi over 6, which that really simplifies out to, I can take a 2 out from both top and bottom. So I get 8 pi over 3. And then putting that into my calculator, I would get 8.38 centimeters is that arc length. Okay, so now the next one says I want to find the circumference of circle C. So if we're looking at our proportion here, I know that my arc length over my circumference is equal to the measure of the arc over 360. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in here. So I know that my arc length is 4.19. I don't know my circumference, so I'm just going to leave that as C. It's equal to the measure of the arc. Well, I know that this arc here, xy, is just 40 over 360. So again, I'm getting that from this formula right here, this proportion. Okay, so I could go straight into cross multiplying, but it's actually easier if we go ahead and simplify this fraction first. And I do notice that 40 actually goes into 360, and it goes into it 9 times. And then now from here, I want to cross multiply. So C times 1 gets me C. 9 times 4.19 gets me 37.71 centimeters. And so that's going to be my answer. Okay, so now for this last one, I instead want to find the measure of my arc. So I know my arc length, I know my radius. I want to find what this, basically what that angle is right there. So I know that my arc length here is 44. And I want 2 pi r there. And here I'm given that my radius is 15.28. And that's going to equal to my measure of my arc, so measure of RS, over 360. So I want to first, again, simplify this fraction. So here I see I know 2 can go into 44, so I want to go ahead and cross out that 2. And 2 goes into 44 22 times. And then from here, I'm going to cross multiply. So first I'm going to multiply 22 times 360, and I get 7,920. And then 15.28 pi times measure of RS. And I'm trying to get this by itself, so I need to get rid of this 15.28 pi, so I need to divide it from both sides. And so when you divide it from both sides, you should get that the measure of that arc is equal to 164.99 degrees. Okay, that is it for today. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, your homework is on big ideas.